Lewinsky.
And you see, there we go. Third time's a charm.
I know, right? Got it. Let's get it. Yeah.
All right. You ain't trying to have us go live, okay?
Yeah.
Yes. Right. Hey, peaceful greetings to you all. And thank you all for coming. I am Brother Shalim L, one of the 5 Astro Magnificent, most known unknown brothers from the 7 Hill Star Astrology Firm. Right. Thank you for joining us for Intuition Monday, episode number 53. And I am here with my awesome, magnificent living master bro, and he is.
Oh, you're so kind. Namaste, namaste, namaste. Islam, I am Brother Hassan Ghazi Obey here in Morocco at northwest of Mexham. How are you? All right, man. I'm so excited about this actual Intuition Monday because we're going over Leonardo DiCaprio, right? Like one of my favorite movies of his is like Basketball Diaries. I thought that was kind of like cool because that basketball kind of sucked because it's like, whoa, this is a wasted life story, sort of kind of. But at the same time, it's some pretty good other, some other movies pretty good. And also, but just looking at the natal chart as we were just analyzing, just pre-gaming on the analysis. And I asked a million times, did we do this chart before? And Brother Sean's like, no, it was Leonardo da Vinci. We did like, oh, okay. Pardon me. It's like, but it's really good to go over this. I'm really looking to be brief yet still technical on a lot of things that we just looked at and just, seeing how, things have played out and just kind of want to look at some, some timing techniques also, I'm pretty sure. And one we didn't really mention in, before hitting the live was just the annual perfection that he's in right now also, which I'm pretty sure we're coming up on, we're at 47, so it's about a 12th house perfection, if I'm not mistaken. Was he at 48 now?
48, yeah, 48. So he's in that.
Yeah, so he's in the first house.
Yeah.
First house perfection. Yeah, it's kind of looks like, is that right? So, so he's having a first house perfection with his Vargothama Venus, with the Vargothama, ascendant. Like, so pretty interesting. Even for us to go live today on him, we saw in the 4th level for zodiacal release, and it was like, this guy has a connection to the astrology also. It's obvious. I'm pretty sure there, that chart is analyzed often for those that are really into the science. However, I yield the floor to you, Brother Sean. This is Intuition Monday, and we welcome you all and thank you all so much for joining us. Islam,
we thank you very much. So as we this is the last Intuition Monday, so it's about that time for some more calendars and thumbnails, and woohoo! I'm excited about that. So,
yeah, I know, right?
Well, we'll just get right on into this thing, right? So, I'm gonna hit that. Now we're gonna come back to here. All right, we have full screen. All right, let's got the full screen. Let's do this thing.
Let's do this.
Hey, let's delineate.
No, right.
So, so we have Leonardo DiCaprio's chart here. So he was manifested November 11th, 1974, on the moon day on a Monday. Hey, look at that. Talking about Leonardo on an Intuition Monday. All right, so when we look at the chart, we see that the sun soul is below the horizon. So pertaining to sex, we will be looking for Mars. Mars will be his most, malefic,
as they say.
As they say
in certain astrological circles.
As they say, we don't really do too much with the he'll say, but
that's fine.
Yeah, so it's Mars is, as they say, most debilitated, but Mars is definitely strong where he's at in Scorpio, where he naturally rules, Aries and Scorpio there. So that's definitely great there for that. And then we look at Venus and we look at Luna, all right? Venus right there, 19 degrees, Scorpio, 53 minutes. Stop, take a deep breath. We know. Oh, Venus and Scorpio, just take a deep breath. It's all right. All right, so we got sun, we got a Scorpio sun, we have a Libra moon, and we have a Libra rising, right? On the first house here. Just very interesting with that Libra moon in the first house. So definitely if he didn't learn it on his own, he learned it from his mother. Probably had like a self-care routine or something like that, or really just took his appearance very serious. Invested into things that would transform himself and just learn how to balance things. And I was playing for Brother Hassan before we started the live. I was like, bro, why am I getting this song as we was talking about his Venus and Scorpio, that Jeezy Neo song, Can't Leave You Alone. He said, yeah, but you feel so good. He said, and I gotta leave you alone. Right? True.
Right.
Well, yeah, just making, light jokes. Not that Venus, right? And that Sun in Scorpio, it's in the second house. So it's like and his part of fortune is in Scorpio as well with Mars. So he's got a double stellium here, right? With a Libra Scorpio stellium with Mars ruling what we say, the first, second, eighth, 11th house. Wow. And the 12th. So Mars definitely is definitely ruling over a lot here. So I'm pretty sure like he had to learn to not probably be so intense or just so strong about his way. Probably got into a lot of situations. Probably, not only with himself, but just dealing like women, women in general and mothers. Definitely just very strong and intensely feeling. And second house is like, dealing like finances and movable possessions. So definitely moved around a lot and definitely probably had to learn a couple hard lessons there, from women and just his own drive and individuality. But that sun and second house, yeah, he probably had like a secret routine or something from outside of what everyone knew him to do. And then I'll make notes on just that Mercury Uranus there conjunct, right? That 29 degree mark. We know that is a very critical degree, ruled by the sun. So a very much fortunate for fame degree. And when we think of like Mercury and Uranus and Libra, it's definitely movie, it's definitely acting. So he's definitely living out his purpose as he should, right? His purpose and who he is, is just to be like a visionary. So definitely probably say he's like a hometown hero. It might have started out as a joke, but at some point as he went along and matured, he got more respect, just in his local area, just his community. I'm not sure if he has any siblings either. That'd be interesting to look up and add to later. And so yeah, what a man looks for his woman is Venus. So he looks for someone that is very like mysterious but intense, right? He's definitely going to feel that instant attraction. But we look at, hey, seventh house cusp is at 3 degrees Aries. So someone who's not only mysterious and but very strong and comfortable in themselves, a leader in their own. And what's interesting is vertex, 11 degrees, 11 minutes Aries, which is the degree of spiritual intuition. So definitely looking for not only within himself as he project, just have a lot of hunches here. And, in dealing with, various partners, whether that's platonic or business, he always probably knew or felt or had to learn at some point to go with his intuition, with his gut tells him, right? But also a lot of wounded healing there in the relationships and partnerships as well. Right, when we looking at Chiron here, one relation. So he definitely had to learn and fill out his own path, his own leadership, being strong and self-driven for himself, right? Let's see what else we want to even look at just to be brief. All right. You got, debilitated Saturn as well. But look at that though. It's Venus and Saturn of, both, in the fall, as they would say. Well, pardon me, not in the fall, debilitated. Just Saturn rules Capricorn. Cancer is the opposite of Capricorn. So Saturn's definitely not feeling good, but it's trine, it's trine the Sun and Venus. So definitely some harmonic energy if he definitely learned how to work with that, and definitely probably learned that as he got older, right? From different beings, definitely the astrology too, if he's into it, whether it's just in private, right? Having readings done at his home, or having beings come over to really, teach him that. Saturn's about hard work. So Cancer is, pardon me, on that 10th house cusp. So, oh wow, he's got his part of Eros conjunct Sirius. Goodness.
Yeah, that's interesting, right?
I'm just now looking at that too. So yeah, landing home, mining home, quote unquote, as they would say, real estate. But we ain't talk about no business opportunities, right? With that Saturn and Cancer in its retrograde. So as my bro said earlier, we know that he's here to do it again, learning a lesson again with that Saturn retrograde and the 10th. So yeah, we know that's being ruled by Luna. Luna's in the first. So yeah, definitely his mother, and also bro said earlier, older women definitely helped and assisted him or guided him through, pertaining to his career, maybe saying, don't take this part or hold out for that part, right? Saturn is ruling over the 4th opposite. So, yeah, definitely so learned a lot in his home. So I could really say we look at Luna too. So probably like beautiful but constrictive in a sense. And then let's just say one more thing, which is curious. Whenever we go look at the autobiography, we want to see about around 45 years, 9 months for Leonardo DiCaprio. Something that shifted within his home life or his foundation. So possibly like a major move, major breakup, something maybe pertaining to like the children changing schools around this 45-year, 9 months. Just a major shift and change pertaining to that. With that, I'll yield, bro. Let you give the collective some of that living master truth.
You're hilarious. Y'all are so funny, man. I mean, just to be completely like frank and upfront, just to see him to have a Libra ascendant with Venus in Scorpio. So normally in some astrological circles, Venus would be in detriment, as they would say, being in Scorpio, because she's dominant in the sign 180 degrees to Scorpio, which is Taurus. Alrighty. However, where she's at 19 degrees is the moon's monomoria, actually. Just past the Via Combusta, we do see there are quite a few planets in Via Combusta from 15 degrees Libra to 15 degrees Scorpio, which we know Via Combusta is the portion that the Milky Way isn't. It's like a portion in the Milky Way that kind of splits, and it's known as the Combust Way, Via Combusta, right? So with that being said, to see that Venus there is ruling from the 2nd house, so it will have accidental dignity, even though seemingly in detriment. However, it's also, when we looked at it from a 9th harmonic perspective, I am Brother Sean, we noticed that both the Libra ascendant as well as Venus are Vargotama. So the same sign that they're in the tropic chart is the same sign that they're in the ninth harmonic chart. So it really just speaks to the fact that a lot of movement, and even in his health, is really motivated by the things that he values, the things that he possesses. And it must be in a way where it's got to be some sort of control pertaining to, you know, the outcome of the beauty of either the situation as far as the movie itself, maybe the contract as well, because Venus does rule contracts. However, being in the second house to contracts, whole sign in the sense, which would be Scorpio, it would really let me know that there's a very strong possibility in the way he contracts with people. It's clearly and highly made for one to be able to make sure there's something for him to inherit even extra outside of the initial agreement. So this would be someone that I think, with a Venus in the second house in Scorpio ruling their ascendant as well as their eighth house, would make them someone who would possibly allow themselves to benefit handsomely, so to speak, in terms of making sure contracts are complete. Or it would show someone who may take little attention in finding the beauty in the details pertaining to contract, and therefore really only trusting in one's legal team, which may come at a bit of a halt, provided the legal team is not being completely honest about the accounting that is being taken place on behalf of this being. So that is also there. Just analyzing the Venus in Scorpio in the second house at 19 degrees, 53 minutes, ruling over the first house cusp, which is the ascendant at 3 degrees, 7 minutes Libra, as well as the eighth house cusp for 0 degrees Taurus, 28 minutes, if I'm looking at that properly. So with that being said, when it comes to Leonardo DiCaprio's driven nature, the way he reflects with himself and finding a way to have himself be relatable, the values and how he relates are really in conditions where there's some favor, even in moments where it seems like there is no hope. So it almost comes with that every cloud has a silver lining. Well, he's like the silver lining cloud collector. And it's like right when a portal is about to close, he can make it right through it and get on the other side due to the fact of the pain learned from past interactions, which allows one to really meet their fears head on, almost, so to speak, so that one will be able to effectively relate in a way where they're dominating in the values brought about, right? And what I mean by dominating in the values, they're able to make sure what's in it for them is not only written in the contract, what's in it for them, however, possibly even half given up front type of energy, due to the fact that Mars is ruling over Venus, ruling the ascendant. And Mars being dominant is also not only ruling over the second house, it's ruling over the seventh. So now we see a connection between the relation and the contracting.
Mm-hmm.
Familiarity may be something that's worthwhile. I think even the Wolf on Wall Street speaks to this Mars dominating the ascendant ruler placement. Because the Wolf on Wall Street is someone who is driven to actively exploit financial backgrounds. What's happening behind the scenes on finances, behind the scenes, Scorpio, finances, Venus. It's like, that's just one movie, of course. What would be interesting, though, is when Wolf on Wall Street came out, what Fadaria was he going through? What perfection was he going through? What zodiacal releasing was he experiencing? I'm pretty sure all that would add up and would see something tied some way, shape, or form with either Mars or Venus. Again, ruling his first and eighth, second and seventh houses, while both are there conjunct the sun. So they're in council with the king in the second house. This is someone who is obviously really close to their accounting team. Someone who is making sure that the inputs and outputs are well documented. Bookkeeping should not be a problem here. However, if bookkeeping is a problem, there will be many lessons learned. The point where the wounded healing that would occur from that would be due to some fated interaction and or event that, really took head in places where one would probably think, okay, I didn't know that this could really happen like this, or it could happen here. It might have came as something that is so simple of knowing how to control contracts, where, let's say, he could have had like an abscess somewhere on like his jawline, right? Maybe he had an abscess in his gum line some kind of way, and learned about contracting of some sort, or the importance of knowing what's the fine print says, or things like that, due to the fact of something that could have seemingly almost took his life, and all he went for was to get an abscess treated in his gum line. So now it's like, hold on, man, I need to be sure and clear on how I'm contracting. Even if contracting isn't with other people outside of oneself, it's the means to make much more valuable decisions, better decisions, allowing the subconscious mind to be very well balanced, even though it is, it's funny because the moon deals with milk and breast, and Via Combusta is a part of the Milky Way that, it's not the Milky Way. It's like this fork in the road portion, and it's called Via Combusta from 15 degrees Libra to 15 degrees Scorpio, and the moon is there. So that which would be closely related by idea and ideal, the moon, which controls milk, right, rules over milk, rules over the fluids on the planet, is in a space, celestially speaking, where there is no milk. However, there is milk. Why? Because even though it's not on the outside of the Milky Way, it's actually right in the middle of the Milky Way, which is very interesting to think about. You know how you could be right in the middle of something, but it just doesn't touch you? So that would be kind of like how Moses in certain dispensations slept in a ring of fire. Again, Via Combusta. So the movement pertaining to the moon at that, and any time, it happens every month when the moon goes between 15 degrees Libra and 15 degrees Scorpio, one would be right in the middle of the Milky Way, however, not touching any of the Milky Way. So there are some things in life that are the same way. You can be right in the middle of something in its nucleus, however, not being affected by what's on its outer rings, on the electron cloud, so to speak, which is where electricity happens, the movement pertaining to the valence electron on the outermost electron cloud. you get electricity because, for example, copper and gold give off their valence electron very easily. So you have that Newton's cradle effect pertaining to the valence electron bouncing from one copper and or gold atom to the next. And that movement pertaining to that valence electron we have termed electricity. So even with speaking on that and looking at via combusta, we're seeing how in his first house, there are things with his subconscious mind and even seeing himself, he may, and it's interesting how, you know, there were early transformations made in his life. He was about 5 years old. If I'm not mistaken, to be completely clear, 6 times 6 minutes, 1 minute is 6 days. So that's 6 and 6. So yeah, a month and 6 days. So he was about 5 years old, a month and 6 days. So 5 years, a month and 6 days old, where he already went through some type of transformation when it comes to his immediate health and how he looks. Could have been along the lines of, you know, maybe someone in his family was able to come across some finances in a way where it totally changed his whole life, changed how he looked. Maybe it was an audition when he was really young. We could see these things. I know we could check the biography and line up the biography with the events happening in the chart via progression and other timing techniques. So just to really just, you know, bring it home, it just really shows that even there also, he has Spica and Arcturus, Mary and Joseph as his term. Some will say Spica and Arcturus. They're 23 degrees, 29 minutes, and 23 degrees, 52 minutes, both of them. Then Uranus and Mercury are also in Libra in the first house. So he has a first house stellium as well as a Libra stellium, and a second house stellium as well as a Scorpio stellium with actual planets, not just, you know, fixed stars. However, with those fixed stars there in his first house, it would definitely make him one who would be very transformative in the eyes of the people and seemingly to be almost a godsend, so to speak, because Spica and Arcturus would yield Joshua, right? Yeshua, right? Would yield Jesus, right? So there's this Savior's mother and father tied to the ego and personality, so to speak, just a bit when it comes to Leonardo DiCaprio expressing himself, again, transforming the outlook of people in a way where there's sudden changes in the balance, in the shift, which shows a little bit of range in someone's presentation while being able to also communicate the reasoning behind that sudden change or sudden outpour in the disrupting balance. So now it will leave someone who would seemingly be unpredictable, one who could be very kind at one moment and then maybe in the next moment seem very harsh. You know, that will probably even speak to the character being able to be played in Django with that first house stellium there. All right, and being able to embody that first house energy. So I can yield there, Brother Sean. I know we can speak on other points. You want to go in on some other things that are there? Because I could, you already know, bro, we can turn it up a notch and go into some other levels here.
Very much so. Hold on, get this real quick.
Turn it up on these levels.
We want to hit us. We can hit the next stage. So I know we could spend hours upon hours on this one. So yeah, let's go. Let's go. All right, we have secondary progress. Look at that.
Secondary progress. So he was made manifest being a Scorpio, and now currently he's a Capricorn. And although DiCaprio has progressed, his ego and personality has progressed to, you know, having the creative essentials. Alrighty, and it's gonna be those creative essentials. It's gonna be relating back to some mother and or father figure, someone who was very, kind of, I don't know if they were a role model in the best sense, but maybe learning from the mistakes of another here is very possible, as well as maybe even relating to his mother and or father. And
Mhm.
I actually yield with that, even
Yeah, he
though,
definitely learned that commitment. He probably is reminiscing now of what he's seen and took it as what he didn't want, but
yeah,
also as a way that how he could furtherly commit more, not only to his career goals, but the structure of that domus as well. And I yield with that.
and just coming off of a full moon progressed also, right? Just coming off of that. However, I was saying within the next 6 months or so, he's going to have that moon be conjunct his progressed Saturn, which is retrograde still, right? So then not only is there going to be a lunar conjunction with Saturn in the progress chart, the outer wheel here, it's also going to be on a secondary progressed moon is going to actually be on his natal Saturn. So I really think when it comes to, again, a theme here where we're looking at dealing with the mother father principles, one may could be reminiscing or actually taking time to spend time with some role model, some elder, either mother and or father or both. And what will really be there also is a means to really um, find oneself, even I know it's just like a couple years from 50, but be able to find with someone's self by comprehending the personality and the mindset pertaining to mother and father, and then seeing oneself in those qualities and being the merger to that. Being a merger to, as we all are, our progenitors, mothers and fathers. What we can actually do is allow ourselves to take a critical inventory, self evaluation. And I think at this moment, what's going to happen in this time of his life within the next 6 months, he's going to, it's interesting. I wouldn't be surprised too if someone says he's um, helping someone else to make a baby or something like that, because I just really see something really strong with um, children, either his childhood and things that we're calling there, or the fact that the reason why he's recalling things from his childhood, so that if there is a child on the way by someone involved with Leonardo DiCaprio, then that's the reason why a lot of energy is being put into being a really good father, or finding a way to provide for the child and or someone's children. However, it may be from afar, it may be while traveling, or having the family travel with him, therefore not being a quote unquote stable place of staying. Not that there's instability, but just because of the fact of travel is really important. So keeping the family around. So that's just what I see there with that secondary progressed moon. It isn't Cancer, however, right? It isn't Cancer. Um, and like you said before, bro, the Saturn, yes, would be considered in detriment because it would do much stronger in Capricorn than Cancer. So it's said. However, I just see that some real essential things pertaining to home and the early childhood development home, and just being secure with what's being seen from there. I think that's really bringing some things to the forefront. It's affecting his career though, so it's something that he's got to face pertaining to that, and really allow himself to be strong, and probably facing something that's been swept under the rug for some time here. But he'll be able to move into the next portion pertaining to how he is seen in the public, as it's called, his status. And therefore, there's going to be some interaction. Maybe he has to meet with um, a mother and a father to a very sensitive situation that he has to reenact. I see that being very strong and possible too. as far as the method acting portions and things of that nature. I yield to you, Brother Sean Islam.
I'm getting like probably like the next 5 to 10 years, he's gonna have his institute.
Interesting.
Like an acting or like an acting and arts institution. Yeah, he's probably laying that. It's probably been laying that foundation, or he's thought about it, but it's in the works. I think he's really committed to it. With that, let's see. It's interesting. One is at 11. Yeah, and at midheavens at Leo. So yeah, he's going through that that darkness period, right? But to really shine. So yeah, he's definitely having to, as you said, like conquer his fears that he might thought he was over and done. But as it's come up again. Right, and Senate now is in Scorpio. Uranus in the 12th. Yeah, he's definitely either doing astrology or some tarot. Like I said, just behind the scenes. Maybe want to learn about like ceremonies or rituals if he already hasn't. Not in like a woo sense, but like making like gardening or like something part of his daily routine. Watering his plants. Mars second too. So yeah, he's learning. He's in he's learning a lot of different lessons now pertaining to just his own outlook of life. What's that saying? Like he's like turning over a new leaf. He's definitely being open to things he wasn't either usually raised to or he wasn't allowed to look into for that. But the communication is all about structure. So how's he structuring his home life? So definitely a lot of changes when it comes to expression, communicating, and relating. I'm really curious on that. Mercury and Capricorn. Yeah, he's definitely one to tie up some loose ends, yo. I'm getting that too. Like tie up some loose ends or really, as you were saying, like going about his accounts earlier, like now learning to maybe take a little more responsibility for himself and just kind of check behind his accountants and everything, or having someone trusted to do that for him so that he can be free to just create. Yeah. Yeah, it's probably to have like a movie get recognized or one of his old movies come up. And it's like, oh yeah, this film right here, and he was like, oh wow, yay. All right, Jupiter, yeah, still in the 6th too, Pisces. Yeah. He's definitely learning a lot. I'll say that much. Have a new outlook. And yeah, I think we'll move on to the next little section, man. We ain't gonna fix it, man.
Add to your wisdom with that Jupiter and Pisces, it does make one, be because Pisces also deals with film, imagination, things like that, and Jupiter being there dominant and direct. It does. It goes to show how his everyday hustle is in film and theater, because 6th house would be what some would call the work house, the how you serve others, how you want others to serve you. And the thing about service is someone is, compensating someone for that service that you provided. So that's why it would also be looked at as another quote unquote financial house, the 6th house, and how one would, spend their finances in terms of keeping themselves well balanced and healthy. It's like, how are you going to go about balancing your relationships? Well, what's done in the 6th house, because 6th is 12th to the 7th. And so with that being said, it goes to show how that Jupiter in Pisces would kind of, sort of guarantee to a certain extent someone who is really great and phenomenal at film and theater, whichever aspect of film and theater it is, whether it's the acting or whether it's just writing and producing. It would just make someone be able to really expand the institution pertaining to film and industry. And technically, people who are actors are serving their peers a motion picture presentation. So that would also speak to, one being a visual artist for their resources in life. All right. So they can have food, clothing, and shelter. So that's kind of just what I see there also. And it kind of makes sense how that acting thing went, on top of the fact that you pointed out, if I'm not mistaken, 29 degrees Libra. We had discussed that briefly. Right. And if we just look at 29 degrees Libra, let me see. If I'm not mistaken, I think it would be trine the actor's degree in Gemini. He has Gemini on his 9th house cusp. Right. So when you look at 29 degrees Libra, just overall, I mean, it's very close to hospitality and hair. 28 degrees Libra is hospitality and hair. So it just makes sense why there would be a means for someone to be able to make sudden changes to their hair and stuff like that, especially if they're acting, so probably haircuts and things of that nature, or,
weight gain and weight loss and, various things.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Ready for the moment. He said, what, lose 20 pounds? Say less.
Absolutely. I got to play this role. All right.
All right, cool. Let's do it. I'm ready
Right.
to step in that limelight, that light.
Correct. And then the 2nd house cusp being very close, also Uranus and Mercury being very close at 29 degrees. The 2nd house cusp is 0 degrees Scorpio, right? So we already know that sensual and passionate degree. So it may speak to someone who also may use a bit of those energies to be able to have some resources, or they actually value that also. Some type of sensational, someone who's dealing with sensuousness, sensational energy, they want to feel it. And the passionate energy would be someone who would be probably very forward and adamant in making sure that that experience is high level sense consciousness, so to speak. One could grow from that, provided the energies are actually channeled appropriately for some healthy expulsions pertaining to that energy. So I'm actually looking at too how Uranus is now progressed. The progressed Uranus would be exalted in Scorpio. So now there's going to even right now, how we're speaking about Leonardo DiCaprio at the time that we are. I mean, 17 days past his solar return. We could have spoke about him 17 days ago. However, even to see how it's lined up, even with the zodiacal releasing on level 4 period, for him to be peaking in part of spirit, in terms of part of fortune on the fixed cross, he's, dealing with Leo today. So we're actually allowing ourselves, we Leo Mercury Moors that we are, to actually speak about someone who's in the spotlight. Mercury is speaking, spotlight is Leo, right? And to see Uranus there's astrology being utilized to, speak on his values, his possessions, the way things are reflected in his actions, right? Can't even make these things up, man. It's just really interesting to see. Of course, you guys, you're interested in seeing these things about yourself. schedule your mirror AstroLiteracy sessions, and get your mental magician reports. Because self-reflection is not just a one-session thing. This is a lifetime thing, guys. All righty. And you know, Seven Hill Star Astrology Firm is what we put out there first and foremost, while having Prophet Noble Drali at the forefront pertaining to our minds. AstroLiteracy comprehension is paramount, so that everyone can be able to change the vibration on the planet. I trust that everyone gets to know who they really are, analyzing their astrology. There would be no need for crime on the planet, no need for people to hurt, to be in harm or feel harm, because everyone will be analyzing the blueprint that they are, which is their natal chart. I know some would, say, well, knowing when you manifested or the so-called time is hearsay. Technically, that is true. However, what we trust and what you are to trust is someone making accurate notation, so to speak, pertaining to manifestations in the family. That's why it's best to always keep a family Bible, someone who's going to be right on it, front and center, when a member pertaining to your loved ones are made manifest. Someone can document those times accordingly, those dimensions accordingly. So with Islam, so with that being said, you can also do natal chart rectification, all righty, and be able to see and double check the times also, all righty, which is what we also share here at sevenhillstar.com Astrology Firm. So also, with that being said, I just wanted to speak briefly on the fact that Leonardo DiCaprio's 10th house cusp and the progressed moon are all in the 8th lunar mansion, alrighty. So it just really shows me even further that there is a means for Leonardo DiCaprio to, like I said, especially within the next 6 months also, to really subdue and take hold of some event in which it's seemingly like it was spinning out of control, or it was a little, may have felt that he was losing control pertaining to it. However, what's going to occur is something in the career where he may be, like even Brother Sean was saying, maybe bring something for the film industry that is beneficial. Unless there's some other things that are there in Leonardo DiCaprio's dealings that will reveal some things that may not be a surprise. However, it might not be the best publicity for him also. So that's something that can be done too, that people could be limited in how they're seeing him due to some fated event that is to occur pertaining to his standing amongst his peers, his global viewings. So I yield the floor there, bro, because I know you wanted to move on. We can look at level 3 now, and I yield.
Islam, bro.
Islam.
Are we ready for solar return?
Yeah, I think that's how we're looking at it. Looking at the solar return now.
All right, let's see. With solar return.
Mercury's ruling his year. It's very interesting that Mercury's ruling the year.
Opposite where
yeah, that's very interesting. Like, yeah, so when the solar return happened, the moon was in interesting right after the homicide degree in Gemini. 17 degrees Gemini is homicide. So it's like the moon was right there at 18 degrees, 52 minutes. Interesting. So it almost makes me think like it's a possibility he was definitely traveling. I got a feeling it was like going back to a neighborhood though that he grew up in.
I guess high school or something. Maybe he did like a high school speaking or held something in
Yeah,
his local community, yo.
yeah.
Yeah. Or like even let's see, where is it? Scorpio. So or maybe he donated. Maybe he donated something to one of his old schools or something, or as they would say, donate to a cause. Sun is in Gemini, Mercury's in Scorpio opposite. Right there with the sun too. Yeah,
And I think
sun's
it's
hmm.
and I think it's rather interesting how close Saturn in his chart, in his solar return chart and South Node are almost just the Antisha is just almost uncanny, as well as the midheaven and vertex. The Antisha is very fucking close, bro. Which has me really thinking like, yeah, definitely something from childhood, from the past. Definitely had to face something. So yeah, I think yeah, definitely donating could have been definitely that. Probably went to a neighborhood he grew up in, donated to. It's funny to for tax write-off purposes. Like that's what I really see for tax write-off purposes. Seriously. So it looks like he had a bit of a Venus return. Also,
Oh, wow.
this solar return, he had a Venus return. Just days before his solar return. Also, a Mercury return had occurred just previous to his solar return too. So, and then those planets are becoming visible very soon. Once they are more than 17 degrees away from the sun, Mercury and Venus, and you can see where they're becoming visible and what that means, what's going to be manifesting in your life pertaining to mercurial energies, pertaining to Venusian energies, and the signs in which they manifest, as well as the house pertaining to your tropic genethliacal figure and or sidereal figure, because we work with multiple levels here, including astrology charts, so that you guys can have exactly what it is that you need. Even though we could just go in for months just on one chart at a time to give you the full perspective. Yeah, we could go in. I mean, you think we can read 3-4 levels on the fly and see some things. I mean, we can write some pretty elaborate reports just off of the center chart alone to just even show why certain tendencies have panned out, which lets me know that this is how you can look at the tendencies in someone's life and how to direct them in those ways, so that the guesswork is being taken out. It's just that we have to get back to the mindset pertaining to our ancient foremothers and forefathers, so that our days may be long upon the earth land, by way of analyzing our 12 signs of the zodiac, Moorish Moabite science, in geometry in the number 0 through 9. That's just how I'm really seeing it. However, let's continue. Let's continue, Brother Sean, on this. Let's go on a few things, man. Yeah, seriously. Because eventually I know we're going to touch the Fedaria, which we know he's in the Sun, Mars Fedaria. So let's keep that in mind while we're looking at what you're about to go in on, bro.
I was looking at that South Node. A South Node in the solar return chart is trying its secondary progress Jupiter.
Say it one more time. What's trying to secondary progress Jupiter?
The South Node and the solar return chart. Yeah, so yeah, definitely when you say he faced his fears and some things that made him uncomfortable, he definitely had to learn that so he could move on and truly expand that. Because
So the trine with the south node is evident of a sextile with the north node.
With his
That's
mother.
always
Something with either mother or women came up for him that he thought he passed. He had to deal with it. Ooh, because son, yeah. South
definitely an older woman. I will say that, yes, it's definitely an older woman. Go ahead, Adia.
Yeah, he had to learn that lesson. You know, it's like, oh wow, I thought he totally went past this, but the opportunity presented itself to right or wrong. That's what I want to say. So that now, he had to clear something from the past came up for him. Man, I wonder. I'm pretty sure he does, but if he has like a psychic medium or a Reiki practitioner that he works with. And if he doesn't, he'll be looking forward to get it, or he does, and it's just not really spoken, really just not put out there like that. Pardon me, I'm getting these clothes too long on this. Yeah, and his solar return midheaven is reflecting his secondary progressed midheaven. It's interesting. So yeah, his career for it's about communicating, for real. Because that Saturn's not his Saturn is so the moon and Saturn's trine that day with the ascendant. Yeah. It's where you got to quote CM Bay, forget everything else you learned except mathematics. Yeah, it's about like a reset, like, and he's definitely donating or looking to help or assist others, at midheaven and Saturn and Luna. Yeah. And he's in a first house perfection year. Yeah. So if he's to go with Fedaria, Sun, Mars, Sun in Scorpio, and Mars is in Gemini retrograde. Yeah, clean everything out. If this reaches you, you see this, clean out that mental. Probably like, I want to say he's definitely probably like taking like a little mini road trips, like all his little favorite spots from his childhood. Finding things that sparked him, things that just really gave him life, and things that also hurt him. But now that he's grown from, so that now he can be able to communicate that in a dual nature way, and be able to keep curious about it as well, and really just express that. Let's see, North Node's and Taurus for that solar return. So, yeah. Some values there, part of victories and Pisces. Yeah, Jupiter right there by the part of victory. Tell you, man, if he did not, if he opened up his heart space, man, what he's gonna win. He's gonna win. Jupiter's right there too, even though if that's Jupiter's lot, but to be conjuncture on lot, I think that's pretty something. Oh man. Which, let's see, that part of victory in the solar return chart would be, and Jupiter would be square is natal Uranus and Mercury. So yeah, man, if he really took whatever was coming up seriously and honestly, and took that as like motivation to expand, it's gonna be great. I know, I'm not really sure. I can't, like, when we check that autobiography, I'm sure it'll all line up. And if it don't, it's just where I'm getting like, man, man, what's that saying they say? Whatever, like, God can move mountains or something like that. That'll be like a quote for that. Jupiter square the Uranus, natal Uranus and Mercury, yeah. And I yield.
It's fine, man. Focusing a little more on that Mercury, right? His natal Mercury, of course, is in the first house at 29 degrees Libra, right? And we're talking about it's very close, meaning in conjunction to the sensuous and passionate degree in 0 degrees Scorpio, which also, very close to plot, right? So, a plot would be how a story and or situation would turn out. And just paying attention to that Mercury and looking at the secondary progressed Mercury, though, however, it's under beams also, right? To be clear, the natal Mercury is not under beams. It's morning star, actually, as they would call it. So you would see how bright that is rising. You would see the moon rise, then Mercury would have been bright. Once it rose also. However, the secondary progressed Mercury here. So when it comes to that ninth house where the ascendant, natal ninth house is where the ascendant for the solar return chart is taking place, that Mercury is under the sun's beams, right? So is Venus, which I think is very, very interesting to look at the fact that when it comes to an old-time security, early childhood development home, the things that were communicated and or learned that were really grabbed hold of, it almost makes me kind of think that there is some piece of information that has been revealed to Leonardo DiCaprio pertaining to the structure of his family. May have found out there are some things as far as either adoptions or found out that there was some relation to a certain being. And I mean, it may or may not be, it might not be publicized, but it's going to take some serious effects on how Leonardo DiCaprio is going to be seen moving within the next 6 to 12 months. So it really has me even seeing that Saturn, which is clearly secondary progressed Saturn, is still retrograde in the 10th house, having dignity in the 10th to a certain extent, would still be under the rulership pertaining to the moon, which natally is in Libra. However, secondary progressed moon is dominant in Cancer. So when it comes to his career, his standing amongst his peers, it's really going to be based on the fact that there are some unseen things pertaining to his thought process and the way that he communicates and serves others. So there may be some working out of selfishnesses, possibly. There may be, maybe a kind now beyond sun, just a possibility. But there's some things that are going to be worked out here that are pertaining to letting go of something. That may have been, maybe let's say he likes betting on horses. I'm not calling him a gambler. However, the 5th house is on Aquarius. So there's some, you just never know. Might have some sudden change of heart and want to pour out some things. However, if there was something like that, and it's just like, hey, you got to really let this betting on horses thing go. It's finally a moment of clarity. It's like, hold on, this is ruining my life. I need to stop betting on horses. So that's the kind of energy that can manifest, especially with the secondary progressed ascendant there. Just past the wheel combustor. So it lets me know that there is some relief. There's a means to really have one immerse themselves in mother's milk, so to speak. In other words, allow yourself to be nourished. Alrighty, where now the ascendant, the way you do things, are now back within the Milky Way. Moon, secondary progressed moon, there in Cancer, dominant. However, in the 10th, which would be accidental debilitation, some would say, right? However, we can look at it like you can allow your standing in your own mind and how you feel. Let's say if Leonardo DiCaprio didn't have a really tight relationship with his mother and or father, I think the secondary progressed chart is revealing that there are some things that are going to be let go in order for him to move forward in a certain portion pertaining to his career. Maybe some things holding him back due to grudge holding. So whatever grudge is being held by Leonardo DiCaprio, that grudge is going to be released. Not sure if he's seeking therapy. We know the best therapy is a mirror AstroLiteracy session. So again, schedule your mirror AstroLiteracy session, as well as make sure you guys get ordered from Brother Sean Alim your mental magician report. All right. And again, like we do all types of reports here, guys. We got report receipts, and then we got things that we go in on ourselves, right? And that's what Brother Sean is making sure you have a well-analyzed mental magician report. How does Mercury in your chart let you know about how you think, how you communicate, and how you learn, which is very important to know. Of course, with all of your chart. However, that mental magician report is very unveiling, gives you major insight on your communication life, thought life. All right. So moving forward and seeing how.
Not to cut your wisdom, you was talking about that fifth house, and I'm like, yo, that his fifth house was that Aquarius joint. So if we was to look at Mercury and Uranus once again, like it gives light to that entertainment and movie industry, and it's just so interesting that his 11th house, as part of Spirit and Regulus is conjunct. So it's gonna expand like wowzers. That's all I gotta say for that. And I'll yield, bro. And I'm saying, I just like, hold on, you saw that fifth house. I'm like, man, that Spirit is conjunct Regulus, yo. Like
Islam, just to really just even think about, like, okay, so you see his North Node is in Sagittarius, right? So his North Node is about a little less than 120 degrees away. So about 110 degrees away from 0 point Aries, right? So we know that he's a 18-degree Scorpio sun sign in the tropic. He would be a 23-degree Libra in the sidereal. And then to move forward about 110 degrees, 90 degrees from Scorpio would be Aquarius at 18 degrees, but we had to go another 10 roughly. So he would be a 28-degree Aquarius in the draconic. Which means there's a very strong possibility that Leonardo DiCaprio himself in a past life or before incarnating was an astrologer. Someone who really worked in the occult sciences, things of that nature, may have been one who made it so that when they came into this lifetime, they could actually be one who could present themselves, through mass influence, i.e. acting, theater. All right. So just really looking at the fact that this is someone who on the causal plane has an Aquarius ego and personality, on the astral plane has a Scorpion ego and personality, and on the 5 cycle plane has a Libran ego and personality. So this is one who could really share inheritance in relating. So a shared inheritance in relating would be someone who could possibly, show a lot of quote unquote ins and outs of a certain situation, probably reveal certain things to certain people who are commonly interested in whatever it is that he could share, quote unquote, trade secrets about. it just really also lets me know this is someone who also, really embodies the things that are hidden about themselves. They are able to really extract them and bring them to the forefront. This is someone who allows themselves to be well-rounded by not really leaving certain portions pertaining to their ego and personality unevaluated. So just off of looking at just the sun position, draconic, tropic, and sidereal, just really shows someone who doesn't mind really pouring out the information and sharing things that can be inherited for better relations between people, better communications, so to speak. And or that's a life lesson that is being learned also here. This is why I'm also looking at the whole grudges held are being let go, according to what I see pertaining to this secondary progress chart, as well as the solar return chart. It's very, very interesting, that solar return chart, man, especially with Luna approaching, trying to the midheaven, man. It may not seem like anything direct that's happening. And of course, Mars is already trying the midheaven. So there's some corrections being made. Mars retrograde is going back to correct something. So, there's definitely something that Leonardo DiCaprio is dealing with that really has to deal with him letting go of some sort of grudge, and or vice versa. Maybe someone's holding a grudge towards him. Grudge energy is alive and well. I yield the floor, bro.
That's fine.
I mean, where are we at here? I think we did well.
Good. Yeah, we got one more little part that we can just be touch quick on. That's just the Jupiter return. He had a Venus and a Jupiter return in the same solar cycle, like.
And Mercury.
And a Mercury.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
So let's see, so he had was that a 12th house Jupiter return?
I think it's amazing how that Jupiter return sun is perfectly square, almost just off by 30 minutes with that secondary progressed ascendant.
Yo.
Bro, it's almost like freaking that's Antisha.
Oh wow. He a Kazemi? A Kazemi? Sun and Saturn? What was Jupiter return?
Yeah, definitely Sun and Saturn or Kazemi, just 1 minute apart.
Wow, with Jupiter in 11th. Who did he meet, yo? Who did he meet?
It's almost like he met like some super duper grand wizard or something. Like,
well, who did he meet, yo? Wow, that's why I want to get with that. At Jupiter in the 11th, or that Jupiter return house. So yeah, he's going to be meeting a lot of beings. He's going to be expanding his network. If he hasn't started already, that's going to be the lessons for that next 12-year cycle, is expanding his not only his network, but putting that knowledge and his status or whatever and all that things to the better use for humanity. The 11th house is all about humanitarian hopes and wishes. So if there's anything more else in it that he desires personally, outside of movies and acting, if he puts that energy and things for good use, he will definitely expand, and boom, Neptune's there as well in the 11th, right? Luna was in the 12th, right? And Aries, 2 degrees. A little bit past the Aries point. It's interesting. So that Luna and Jupiter return Luna and secondary progress Mars are trined by a sign. Yeah. I hope he bought him a punching bag in the gym to work on his anger. Maybe he turned like some portion of his domus into like a workout, and maybe find some better ways to redirect one's own anger or aggression in a healthy way. Vertex, let's see, that's in Libra. So yeah, sixth house. Yeah, he's definitely expand his network, meeting some beings, yo. Yeah, with an exalted Mars in Capricorn. Pluto's in Capricorn. Let's see what it's at. 36 minutes past exact. His midheaven. Mercury. Yeah, he's having a transformative career. Like, if he thought things are crumbling down or whatever in his fashion, it's for a bounce back. Yo, it's like, you got Mercury and Pluto conjunction midheaven for your solar return. Mars and Venus is right there, conjunct Vesta. Yeah, it's time for some commitment. Commitment. Ooh, where's my granola? It's so interesting. Let's see. Notes. In his ascendant conjunct Uranus. And Uranus conjunct his ascendant. Now Uranus will be in 12. It's like a new sense of clarity for his values in private. So really coming to the fact that things can be taken from you at any moment. So really appreciate what you have. And what's that third chart? It's a solar return. So yeah, it's very, very interesting. It's part of fortunes in Libra for that Jupiter return. 27. Yeah, it's so interesting. So interesting. Return at 11. Venus, Capricorn. Venus is rolling over that Jupiter return chart. In the career.
Venus in Capricorn is trying that ascendant on that Jupiter return chart. The ascendant is almost exactly trying.
Like 17 minutes off. Wow. I don't know whether he was like in a partnership or married. Some mother, Joe. It's probably like, you need to commit more. Or like, let's see, that vertex in his natal is that spiritual intuitions, right? That 11 degrees. So yeah, I think he's learning to trust his gut more. And whatever older mother that he's dealing with. Yeah, he's going to learn some lessons too as well. Yeah. Oh, I'm so interesting. All right.
Funny how his part of Eros would be conjunct his draconic sun.
Mm-hmm.
The Jupiter return part of Eros will be conjunct the draconic sun, which means, like, for me, I'm thinking even on this Jupiter return, what actually occurred was an aha moment, like some eureka moment, especially pertaining to a glimpse of himself. Might have went to that psychic medium or Reiki practitioner and was able to, or took some trip, took some herb induced trip, so to speak, and allowed themselves or some type of medicinal use.
I want to say like ayahuasca. I don't know why I'm getting that.
Something like an ayahuasca trip, and was able to really unlock some things about this. That's why I said I think a lot of let go energy is going to happen here. Because the moment of clarity, I think the moment of clarity is a theme for Leonardo DiCaprio, especially this year.
You know, let go and let the collar pine. It's a collar pine.
Yeah.
Or is it say let go and let God?
It's love. It's fun. I mean, bro, I think we did well. I think, you know, the people
for sure, yeah.
People should definitely schedule their mirror AstroLiteracy session, get their mental magician reports, guys, so you can see how much further we can really go in. Like, we can really go in much further. I actually have someone mirror video I got to send off now. Actually, I got an email to them. But I yield to you, brother Sean. What are you saying? Of course, you know I'm open to Zoom to you when we're done, bro, so that we can do our brainstorming, so to speak. But what would you say?
Indeed, I was about to just scroll through this. Here, span that. See what we gonna go through quick. We ain't really gonna do too much. Let's see. His first major film as author Tobias Wolff and This Boy's Life, 1993.
And by the way, too, wanted to say shout out to I see it too at two interactions in the chat, the Mother Energy and Menela. Peaceful greetings to you all. And thank you so much for interacting. All right, so you want to look at, so now we're looking at the biography, right, and see what things happened, what years we were looking at. Did we even guess some? Years, bro? But we like, man, I wonder if this happened at this time or this day. I know that we were talking about when he was about 45 years old, 45 years and 9 months old. There was some faded into, right? There was some sudden change in the family status. There was a family status change when he was about 45 years old, and 45 years and 9 months old. I yield, bro.
See, Romeo and Juliet was 1996. Titanic was 1997. Oh, there's that Gangs in New York.
I
wonder if he was in the Leo peak period during all this. Let's see.
Gangs in New York was, 2002, right along with Catch Me If You Can. Amazing. Catch Me If You Can is when he was the pilot, Abernathy. But go ahead, I yield.
Let's see. He was in a level 1 Libra period in 94 to June 17th, 2002. So he was definitely in the buildup of stunning out the way. He was definitely a buildup of everything.
You just got something highlighted, I guess. If you move your mouse. Yeah, when you highlight the hyperlink, it'll bring up a thumbnail with information. That's how they got it now. Like, so
yeah. Let's see. Early life. He is the only child, okay, of legal secretary Endenbergen, a legal secretary. His father was a comic writer, publisher. DiCaprio's parents named him Leonardo because his pregnant mother first felt him kick while she was looking at Leonardo da Vinci painting.
Maybe that's why I kept asking questions like, didn't we do this before? And he's like, no, it's Leonardo da Vinci.
Yeah, man. Let's see. He didn't like public school, wanted an audition for acting job so he could improve his family's financial situation. He dropped out of high school following his third year. Has said his career choice as a child was to become a marine biologist or an actor, but eventually favored the latter as he liked impersonating characters and imitating people and seeing people's reaction to his acting. His interest in performing began at the age of 2, when he went onto stage and receiving a positive response from the crowd. Let's see. He remained jobless for a year and a half, lack of success, to give up. But his father persuaded him to keep going through, motivated by his father and the need to financially support his mother. He continued to audition. After a talent agent who knew his mother's friend recommended him to casting directors, DiCaprio secured roles in about 20 commercials.
So yeah, it did start early. Gotcha.
91 through 96 was early work and breakthrough.
Interessante.
Go down somewhere. Let's see. Titanic. We know that. I'm trying to see if he has.
45 would have been 3 years ago. So 2009. Yeah. So what peaked in 2019 for him? 2019-ish, maybe 2020-ish. There was some sort of peak of some sort.
Well, I know he was talking about donating. So May 2021, DiCaprio announced a $43 million pledge to enact conservation operations across the Galapagos Islands, with the announcement marked by his social media account being taken over by wildlife veterinarian island restoration specialist Paula Extano.
Paula A. Castaño. Alrighty. Interesting. It's interesting to look at. Philanthropy. Stop right there. In 2020, DiCaprio's foundation donated $3 million to Australia brushfire relief efforts. There we go. That's kind of what I was looking for.
The site of his childhood home, yo. That's 98. Okay. 2016.
We did talk about that. We did talk about him dealing with things, and we were saying that even now, like right now, dealing with that too, possibly in 98 to 2022 would be a Saturn return for that. So that's why I'm thinking like there's a possibility he could be dealing with that also. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Los Feliz. All right. Interesting. So yeah, I think you're gonna see something pop up about Leonardo DiCaprio and Los Feliz again. And we already know there he has a Leonardo DiCaprio computer center at that library. So I think something is about to happen for Los Feliz in terms of Leonardo DiCaprio. Is definitely the focus. It might be an expansion, like you said, of something else dealing with that. Maybe, like you said, it could be theater stuff. Maybe they're at the computer center allowing people to do movie editing or something. Who knows? So I yield on that.
So let's see, relationship, Camilla Moreau from 2017 until 2022. So, says nothing about children.
No, you think? That's what I'm thinking. Like, there aren't any. That's why it's like, what if that pops up? But maybe he's been one that's been able to, if there are children, keeps them out of the public light, or he's transacted so that there are none. With the Venus so heavily strong in Scorpio where it is, Vargotama, along with the ascendant that it rules, and the 8th house that it rules also from the 8th sign. So, let's see. How are we looking?
Nope. As of August 2022, Leonardo DiCaprio is not a father and does not have any children. The actor once said he didn't believe in marriage and didn't see himself having children.
Interessante. Boy. Man, when you look up stuff and then it just kind of says what you're thinking.
Muy.
But let's see, like, okay.
Yeah, dealing with others, little ones. Muy.
Yeah.
Well, Brother Corey's always well.
Islam. I mean, just very, very interesting to see, just to say the least, right? However, man, that was excellent, man. Leonardo DiCaprio. I know once we close on that, man, I'll open this back up so we can do our brainstorming. But I yield the floor to you, brother Sean. You can close this one out, man.
Gee. Oh, I already sent it to me. I already got the host. All right. Well, gratitude to everyone today. It was in the chat that will watch this video in the future. For those, times to come. Thank you for sharing those out with others. We appreciate you very much. And yeah, it was very interesting to go over this chart. I think it's like one of the, I don't want to say the most interesting one, but it's up there just from the past couple of quote unquote celebrity charts that we have done this far. Because I know last sun cycle, I think the first episode of Intuition Monday might have been Janelle Monáe. That's, I know we did last year about this time. So
Got you.
very, it's just, you can't make it up, yo. Like, we going in on Leonardo DiCaprio 17 days after his solar return, and he's at his level 4 peak period.
Yeah.
Starts today.
Yeah, and that's why I'm like, This is when you know, like, you can't make this stuff up. It's really aligned. It's the way that stuff is aligned, man. And then, Leo Mercury Moore is doing while he's going through a level 4 Leo peak period in his part of spirit. So it's like, well, but anyhow, sir, I yield, bro, because I'm ready to get to the next one.
Another one.
Another one. I told you, man, we're gonna have the number ones, bro, when it comes to music and books. So let's do it, man. I yield.
Indeed. All right. Thank you all for joining us. You already know Wednesday will be the next tropical 7-day tropical medical weather astro weather report. So make sure you come out for Wednesday. Check out Seven Hill Star, All Rights Reserved on YouTube. He has made playlists for Impromptu, the Astro Weather Report, Intuition Monday, AstroCivics, and make sure you
I do
some CMOS, Brother Corey. Check out Paragon Rico's playlist for his music. Shout out to Brother R. Check out Brother Jag, and we're just gonna keep doing this. Literally, that's all we're gonna keep doing. That's it. So gonna yield and gonna close this thing out, and we're just gonna stay with business, because opposition can stop the vision.
Islam.
And thank you all. So peace and love to you all. Y'all enjoy the rest of your lovely moon day. It's Brother Sean and Brother Hassan, Seven Hill Star, we out.